church here at St Peter's. I'd like to introduce you to our wildflower meadow here, which has been brought about in conjunction with the local community. We did receive some funding from an organisation called Frog Life, who had sourced money from the National Heritage Lottery Fund. And then we engaged with the children in the local school and asked them if they'd like to be involved in casting the seeds. And at the moment it is asleep, but we're delighted to say that after a couple of years, from 2023, we can see some life in here. So we cordoned it off, and we hope it's a place that people will come and enjoy as time goes on. And we're doing our bit for wildlife. Just church grounds there's no insecticides, pests or anything, so pesticides. So yeah, doing our little bit for wildlife.
So I'm Colin Birchall, and I'm the church warden. So my wife and I, Linda, we moved to Stonnall 8 years ago, and whilst we've been church attenders in the past, we actually didn't come to a Church of England. We came to a Baptist church, or we used to go to a Baptist church. We decided when we moved here that we would attend the local church. And so we started to attend St Peter's here, and over time I got more and more involved in doing different things. And then about a year and a half ago I was asked if I would undertake the warden role. The warden is very much the church representative to the bishop. So we do have a vicar who works between two churches in our benefice, but I'm responsible for the building itself and making sure it's okay, and making sure the heating and things like that work, making sure it's locked up and unlocked, making sure the graveyard is kept to a given standard. But I also have responsibilities when he's not available for the services. So this morning I led the service, and I do that at the moment probably every other week. So that's pretty much what I do.
Right, and today, before the service started, you went around kind of greeting people and everything. Yeah. Do you find that sense of community to be still alive in the church, even though there's not that many people compared to the past?
I think you have to define what church is, and whilst we're sitting in something that's called a church, this isn't the only part of the church. Church is about how you are with the 1,200 people who live here in Stonnall, some of whom may come occasionally, some may never come, and some may come quite regularly. You have a role not only as an attender of church, but as somebody who follows the faith I do, which is Christianity, to actually love those people and look after those people. And I get pleasure from having that contact with them, reassuring them of the care that we have for them as a church and as a person.
I'm Pauline Langley. I was Blakemore and I was born in the village. So I've been coming to this church since I was christened here in 1948. Went to a church school in the village, St Peter's, and we were regular attendants at this church through school, but also on a Sunday, which was obviously not through school. Parents brought us up, and there was a big community spirit then in this church. But we're all getting old now.
Yeah.
There's more things to do on a Sunday for other people. that's why they think, no, I'd rather do that. Or perhaps lie in bed a bit longer, I don't know. But I did have a break from coming to church, actually, when I had my children. And I sort of got back into it again. And then I haven't always played the organ. I was played the piano first, and I used to teach piano in the village. And the old organist decided that he wanted somebody to help. And someone asked me to do it, and I said, I can't do it. I'm sure I can't do it. I don't really, Oh, come on up and try it. And I did, and I loved it. It was lovely to be back in my old church and playing. When all the times I'd sat in the pews listening to somebody else do it. The only trouble is we haven't got a choir, not anymore. Thing of the past now. Most churches haven't got choirs. But we do keep going.
What was the main difference between the communities where back when you were a child and you used to come to church back to now? Can you talk about that?
The main difference was we used to have to walk up to start off. So there wasn't a car park at the church. We used to walk up and the bell used to ring. We'd only got one bell in this church, but when we were getting nearer to the church, it would start ringing, and we knew that when it stopped, the service should start. So we'd get so far up the lane and say, oh, the bell's ringing, we've got to get there.
Right.
So we start running. That was the difference, because we'd come up as a group of children as well, just friends, and parents didn't always come. But then there was, at school, when we got to year 6, there was communion. You took communion classes, confirmation classes, and every Monday we'd have them in school so that you were confirmed into the church body. And that was nice as well, to go and do that. I suppose that was different, because they don't do that anymore. Harvest Festival, we used to come up from school carrying all our goodies, lots of goodies in bags, carrying them all the way up. But there was also a separate service on a Sunday, which was mostly for the Sunday school children, because we had Sunday school, which was down at the school as well anyway. And that would also been fruit again then. So that was different. It was different to me from now, because a lot of my family used to come here. So I'd be sitting amongst aunties and uncles, so I'd got to behave myself. You weren't allowed to turn round in church. You were sat on the pew, and if you looked at the front, you got to stay like that. If anybody spoke behind you, you couldn't turn round, not allowed. You wore a hat. Women wore a hat in church, and gloves. And you wore your Sunday best. Nowadays it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter these days. Nobody's bothered.
The people that came today were all like the men dressed in suits.
Oh yes.
So
you don't have to, no.
Yeah.
No. It's just they're older men, and that's what older men tend to do. My dad would never wear, even on holiday, he wore a suit. That was the thing in those days. But yes, the men were all wearing suits. They like to be smart, that's what,
Yeah, I agree.
But we do have one or two that don't wear a suit, but it doesn't matter. Anything goes these days. I mean, we even have, if we get any little children, years ago, the parents would take them out because they were noisy, and the older people would be looking, moaning and groaning. But not now, no. They can do what they like, they can scream, they can shout, and just be themselves, and that's okay.